Hey, Mitch Tram here. Wanted to talk about this KastKing Royale Legend. So I've had this reel about a month and I've fished it very hard. It's been to the lake multiple times, it's been to the river multiple times, so I've fished in the afternoons after work. I fished every day on the weekends through the entire month of August, and then over the recent holiday here, we fished at the coast in the surf. And granted, I know this is not a saltwater rated reel, but I just wanted to talk about how well it's performed. I'm very surprised. Like I said, first KastKing product was a $40 reel. I wasn't expecting much, and it has performed very well. It's very smooth still, and I was fishing it in the surf, catching whiting, a couple redfish, I caught a snook. So it's held up very well. It's gotten in the saltwater. Like I said, I know it's not a salt hardy reel, but a lot of my equipment isn't. I've always fished in the saltwater, and I've used freshwater equipment. As long as you take care of it, it tends to function really well for a lot of years. So let's just take it apart and kind of look at it. I'm gonna do this anyway, and I would after any saltwater trip. So I was fishing morning and afternoon in the surf on the bay. 3 days in a row, so it's been in the salt 6 days. It's been splashed on in the salt quite a bit. It's been to the lake multiple times. It's been to a couple local creeks. It's been to a river, and I've caught at least a couple dozen, probably 3-4 dozen fish on this reel so far. The drag has been great. It's very smooth. The reel is very smooth. It still casts very well. Let's take a look at it. All right. So we're going to take this screw out here. And take our nut off. Take our handle off. And you can see it's a little bit green on the brass there, a little bit of corrosion. And quite honestly, nothing a little Corrosion X won't fix. So we'll be spraying it down with the Corrosion X here in just a moment. Take the drag star off. And once again, we're seeing a little bit of green corrosion in there. Take all our washers off here. Stick them in a nice little pile. So we know the order they go in. There's our bearing. Take off the spool tensioner. Now we got to take off these 3 screws here. I actually have a little bit better screwdriver, so we're going to use it here. There's 1. Two. And there's actually 4. There's 1 hidden behind the spool. We'll get that one in a second. 3. Gonna pop off our side plate here now. There's what it looks like. Looks good. Pull our spool out. It looks good as well. There's that 1 screw down in there. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it's right here. Go ahead and take that out so we can get the side panel off. Alright, so now the side should pop off. There's that screw fell out. There's the bearing, another bearing right here. It looks good. There's still grease on here from the factory. No corrosion really in here. The drag washers look good. It looks all good in there. I am going to give this a good spray down, like I said, with the Corrosion X here in just a second. But overall, it looks good, like I said, and I wasn't easy on it. It definitely got splashed by the saltwater multiple times. I was standing in about waist deep water in the surf and the waves were hitting me. It's getting splashed, and like I said, you can see some corrosion there, but overall, seems to be in really good condition. I'm going to give it a little spray with the Corrosion X here. And I do this to all my reels anyway, for the most part. And we are going to put a little heavier grease. So I'm going to use some Ardent Reel butter on the gears here. Kind of wipe that into there. Alright. Make sure the Corrosion X gets down in that bearing there. Spray just a touch right here on this bearing. Right there. I'm going to put a little bit more grease right here where our level wind gear is. Just want to make sure we... Alright, looks good. I'm going to go ahead and pop the side back on it right here. And I'm going to put this one screw back in here on the inside. That's that silver screw. I'm going to put a touch of grease down here in the level wind. And I may over lubricate a little bit, but we'll just wipe it off, you know, after we crank it a little bit. Put a touch of the Corrosion X on this bearing right here. And Corrosion X is fantastic stuff. I highly recommend it, especially if you're using any of your reels in the saltwater. I don't believe that it can be beat. Just not really a better product out there. Pop that on, and then we're gonna spray our bearing down in here as well with the Corrosion X. Pop our side panel back on. There we go. And now we're going to put the thing back together. So after being in the saltwater, after being fished really hard, the reel is holding up fantastically. Not sure that that's a word, fantastically, but it is. It has been really great so far. I'm very impressed. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and finish putting this guy back together here. Still very, very smooth. After a month of really heavy use, I'm impressed. So I will use this another 6 months or so pretty heavily. I've actually bought 2 KastKing reels at this point, and that's all I'm using. I'm just kind of running them through the ringer. I'll record another video in about 6 months after I've really used them and let you guys know what I think. But so far, like I said, really heavily impressed. You know, and what KastKing says is that their reels are just as good as anybody else's, and the way they're able to provide the value that they do is through direct to the seller. So they don't sell in any outlets. It's all direct to the consumer, and therefore they don't have to pay any outlets to carry their product. And so far, I'm starting to believe it. I was very skeptical, but not so much anymore. All right, guys. Let me know your thoughts. If you got questions, ask them. I'll be happy to answer them. And leave me some comments. If you enjoy my videos, subscribe to my channel. You know, I really appreciate it. You guys have a great day.